Welcome everybody to podcast number 138. We're down a couple people today. We're down Daryl, we're down Carrie, but we have the beautiful, lovely human being Tim Wiseman. Jeff
thought it was him.
We have Adam Weber, and we have super cool guy.
Actually,
Jeff Young. Welcome aboard. How's everybody doing?
What's up, guys?
Things are good.
Good.
I have to say happy birthday, Julie. That's why Carrie's not here. So
yeah, happy birthday, Julie. He has his priorities straight.
Yeah.
Smart man.
Yeah,
he knew otherwise. So
100%. So happy birthday, Julie.
And because of it, you guys are stuck with me.
That's quite okay, actually. That's all right. No problem. How was the flight home and stuff, Jeff? You were just out here, so how did getting home? How did that treat you?
It was uneventful.
Good.
It was good that Mitch travels so much because he was good with some tips and didn't do any checked baggage or anything like that. My ride home did have checked baggage, and they got their luggage, and Mitch was already home. And it's just over an hour's drive from the airport, so he would have to go get his car from parking, get it out of that gong show of an airport, and got home, and they still hadn't got their baggage yet. So
that's crazy.
I mean, considering, there was like in the baggage carousel, there was thousands of suitcases that are unclaimed. Who knows when they're going to get their suitcases? And been there, but
Sharon Kokorin from Newfoundland, we got a message a couple days before the event saying her luggage didn't make it.
Mm-hmm.
So she asked if we had specific kinds of bowling balls, and we did. So we lent them to her for the weekend. But she messaged me. She just found her bags in Calgary a couple days ago.
Really? That's crazy.
So like the entire time she was here, she had none of it. So
pro tip for anyone who's traveling to a bowling tournament by air: take a carry-on. Take your bowling shoes for sure in your carry-on.
Mm-hmm.
And now they let you. I guess the last while now they let you bring bowling balls. Before they wouldn't even let you put bowling balls on a carry-on, but now they do. So, pack maybe a couple of those. Then you don't have to worry about, your stuff not getting there.
Definitely, I always put my shoes in.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have always forgotten my shoes at the hotel when I go practice.
Attaboy.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's a super cool, actually, shirt.
Thank you.
Boston strong. I know you support Boston in some ways or another.
But I'm glad everybody made it home safely and whatnot, and so it was good travel that way. At least a lot of people didn't have to stay home from and have a bunch of canceled flights like the Open happened, right? So
Well, I know Quebec had some problems on the way home. So they were like one of the first groups to the airport, and they were there like 6 a.m. or something like that, 5 or 6 a.m, and their flight got delayed, I think, to like noon or something like that to leave. So they were kind of stranded, but all things considered, I guess it was definitely a concern, especially coming from Pearson, that we would have some problems and hearing flights get canceled constantly, like 140 flights a day or something like that in Pearson.
Just glad that you guys aren't connecting in Pearson.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the worst of it.
Yeah.
If you're just flying in and out of there, I think it's probably okay-ish.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully things are cleared up in a month by the time we have club tour.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, but it was a gong show. Just glad everybody was able to get there in time. Lots of flights canceled last minute before. Kelsey's flight got canceled at 10 o'clock the night before she was supposed to leave, and she was supposed to be at the airport by 1 a.m.
Really?
So it's like 5 hours before she was supposed to leave.
Yeah, I think all things considered, it worked out really well. The whole tournament, the whole event itself was amazing. So, it seemed like everything kind of went off without a hitch, and there was some good live stream, and you know what? I'll say this. All kidding aside, kudos to 5-Pin Universe for doing the live stream. Number one, and number two, having enough diversity with your group. Because, if everyone was as good as Adam is, then everyone would be bowling and there wouldn't be anyone to do the commentating and the sort of swag. So kudos to you guys for not having a whole bunch of Adams in your podcast. And, you have some able bodies to do some other things.
I'm one of the temporary guys here anyway, so it's...
You're too busy bowling to do anything else.
He's too busy bowling. Yeah, no, super fortunate. I do have to thank the 5-Pin Universe crew. I was obviously not there. They did a great job for handling everything. I know Carrie and Julie were there. Daryl was there. Dexter definitely was a huge help. And Katie stepped up too, I believe, right? So it was great to have everybody there to do it. I will say you can't have a nationals without live streaming, and
we're at that point in time
with sound. With sound,
and it was there was a back and forth of whether they're going to be able to do it or not, and we found a way to do it, and I don't think we would want it any other way, right? And obviously, super proud of everything that we got set up. So,
unlike my end, even so Jen was at the lake and she had girls' weekend. And they literally set up TVs on our porch and watched live stream and drank. And like my neighbors and everything were popping by to see what the commotion was about, and so like the entire park kind of got a little taste of that publicity, which was really good too. And I could only imagine that it probably happened all over the place.
We learned that Jeff is liked enough from people that we probably shouldn't chirp about on live streams.
Like
we were all surprised though.
They're obviously they don't know the relationship enough that I definitely deserve everything I get, and probably then some. And you know what? I'm just gonna keep feeding it anyway. So you guys got your moment where I couldn't say anything back for a while, but here I am. I'm back saying stuff again.
That's right. We brought you on for a reason. Absolutely.
Be prepared.
Dexter, at one point, how many viewers were you thinking that were watching live at once?
I know, like for the step ladder, it was between 2 and 250 people at a time.
Awesome.
Right,
That's amazing,
and you think about that, it's not just 2 or 250 people, it's probably 500, double that, or maybe a little. People are watching around screens, right? So, I think that's definitely a great hit for all of us. So, super happy with that.
Yeah, great job, guys. Like it really it added an element. For someone like myself, I hadn't been to nationals for Masters since 2010, and the whole landscape of bowling has changed since then, and that was never an option back then, and it was really nice having a household where both Jen and I couldn't come out together, and her still getting to watch and kind of getting to tune in on the action and see what it's a lot better than me just saying, oh yeah, hey, we won this game. She can actually see it and see the passion and the emotion, which is good.
Totally. Yeah, and it just ultimately promotes the sport everywhere. It promotes Masters, but it promotes the game as a whole, right? Mm-hmm. There's two things that are important for the people that aren't in the building, and that's going to be a live stream, and that's going to be stats. Mm-hmm. And those two things are really important, and it shows the passion of the game when you're not there. It shows your membership that you guys are running a great event, and this is what you can look forward to if you do make it. And so how often have you played on live stream?
A lot. I don't know. Not very often.
Yeah.
Was
it different playing on live stream? Did you notice it at all?
Don't notice a thing. No.
That's good.
No, when we're bowling, I think it's. I guess I can only speak for myself, but I know for a lot of other people as well. Like you get so into what's going on in the game that's like you don't hear people cheering. Like it just all gets drowned out.
Totally.
with the focus. So it's another element that I don't think affects too many people's game, and it's a bonus. And think too, like down the road, like on the corporate level, how many corporations or businesses are looking into this, saying, hey, like. This is an opportunity here. The 5-Pin Universe League itself would be, like a good example of that, where people are stepping up saying, hey, like there's an opportunity here for do some sponsorship. It's a good working relationship that way.
Totally. Yeah. I think it's less noticeable when you're on a team than it is playing on singles.
Mm-hmm.
Singles is just kind of like, right there.
I get it.
On you, but yeah.
2016 stepladder in Scottsdale was a little bit different. We had Chelsea did a great job with the live streaming out there and everything at that point. But they got a camera crew that came in, and we were playing. I remember I was playing Jeff Stevens sticks, right? And I was playing him, and they had a girl literally in the pit. And she was literally zooming the camera up on you when you're playing, and that was a little bit weird, right?
Yeah.
Because it was between the benches too, so you can walk where you normally walk. You had to walk around her, and that was a little bit weird. So the way the live streaming is nowadays, it's definitely not as invasive. I would say.
Well, we're all just so used to it now, especially on tour, right? You're always seeing some sort of live stream, but I think even with some of those other camera angles. If that was like the norm, and you had a chance to play it in a few years, I don't even think you would notice any of those cameras out there either, and just kind of focus on whatever games there.
Yeah, and I think too, I guess the way with live streaming and the technology of cameras. I remember when I was like 14 or 15, I bowled in a tournament where the finals were televised on TV, and you had like the camera and the lights down the lanes, and you could just feel the heat off of the lights shining on you. And I mean, that was definitely something to get used to. You're literally staring into a headlight the whole time you're bowling. That's not anything that we have to worry about anymore, which is great.
Yeah, thank God for that.
Tour finals is like that.
Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah.
It's a lot hotter down in the pit. I mean, from what I remember, it's been a few years, obviously, but but it definitely is that way. So
we'll make sure it's a short visit for you again this year.
Yeah, no, I haven't even thought about that, Adam. I was like, fuck. We'll see. Maybe I have my revenge, buddy. Right? 3 times the charm, right? So,
is it only 3?
4 times.
I don't know.
4 times the charm. And we're not on 7 and 8.
There's a few of us.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, there's a few of us in the same boat. That's for sure.
Definitely asking your son not to be in the crowd. That's for sure. Yeah.
Oh, he'll be right behind.
Yeah, for sure.
He'll be cheering for you, not me.
Yeah, probably. He's like, my dad's a hack for sure.
Yes. Retire already.
Yeah.
Again.
I do notice you have a little trophy in the background you have displayed there.
Yeah, you know what? Most of my stuff, it just ends up in a box, but this one's just so nice that I think it should be on display. Once every 5-6 weeks, I'm on this thing. So,
yeah,
that one means a lot. That Hall of Fame plaque. So
it absolutely should.
Yeah, it kind of brightens up there with the light there. So.
Yeah, not my words. So's your forehead.
Jesus.
I had a shower today. Don't.
All right, we're gonna thank the people that made this all possible. So thank you to all of our Patreon members. Honestly, can't thank you guys enough for all your support. You can sign up at patreon.com/5pituniverse for as little as $2 a month Canadian. So all of that helps us do the podcasts and the live streams and all those things. All those subscriptions cost money, so every contribution has helped significantly, so thank you. And big thank you to All Star Bowling Sales. Shelby Crest will run the commercial, and we'll get this thing going. So we're going to have a lot of people on the docket tonight. We're going to be rotating through people every about 15 minutes or so. We're going to have some people that are normally chattier than normal, and we're going to try to suppress that just a touch so that we can fit in everybody today. But first up, from Southern Ontario, Teaching Ladies Team Gold, we're going to bring in Laura Barton.
Hey, Laura.
Hey.
Welcome.
Thank you. Well, hi.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Excellent. Have you come down from the weekend?
I'm actually not sure if it's even hit me yet. I don't know. I just feel like this sense of calm and everything. So, yeah, right now I'm good.
Awesome. What was your favorite part of the experience?
I don't know, just the whole environment of it. It was so fun to just be there and be up in the energy of all of it. Like, this was my first nationals, and I wasn't entirely sure how it was going to be in terms of like, is it going to be loud and cheering like, the open can be, or is it going to be super serious and everyone's all stoic and just going up there and throwing? But it turned out to be a really fun and good time, and we got going with the other teams even, so it was really just great in that way.
Yeah, awesome. A good opportunity to make new friends around the country that you never would have seen before, and yeah,
Absolutely.
that's to me always like my favorite part of those experiences. It's just the intermingling in between games and stuff like that. It's always awesome. So you've played the Open before.
Yes.
How does this compare?
Well, the Open, I've been to provincials, and that's
Your
the farthest
provincials
I've
are
gone there.
huge, though.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And like I said, like the Open, I knew the high energy, really loud, lots of people, and you really get going with your team. And so, like I said, I wasn't sure how Masters Nationals would be, but I found it very similar once our team got going and got cheering and stuff, and especially with other teams like Alberta and how loud they were, and it just like really drove us to be high energy and stuff too. So that was super fun.
Awesome.
How was your team continuity? Because I know with teaching masters, you don't necessarily play with a lot of the same players all the time, right? And such a vast array of people out in Ontario. So how did that work out for you guys? Obviously, well, but I mean, at the beginning wise, how did everything work out and progress?
Yeah, so during Masters, I had never actually bowled with any of these ladies. I knew Sarah. I had faced her in the Open before at one point, and I knew Jody from other Masters tournaments in the past and stuff. But the rest of my team, I had never really interacted with on any level. So going in after year end, we're like, okay, here's our team. It was like, okay, how are we gonna mesh, right? So we actually had the opportunity to come together for one practice before nationals, and we had a lot of fun there, and we vibed pretty well. And then the practice just before nationals, like in Alberta, it was the same sort of thing. So it was a lot of good meshing of personalities. There was no drama, which is always good. Yeah, right.
Not always the case.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. It's not always the case. So we were lucky with that, and yeah, we just had a lot of fun, and obviously it helped us with our game and let us just focus on that instead of trying to deal with other nonsense and distractions that might have come up with drama, right? So.
Totally. You get to know each other really quickly, spending an entire week together with, in the pits and in the off the lanes at the hotel, having dinner, stuff like that. You get to know people really quick in that time period. And I think that's part of the reason why our game is so great and why there are so many friendships around the country is that we get really secluded with people and you really don't have a choice. So,
well, especially with Masters, you do have that extra downtime in the evenings to actually have that opportunity to spend some time together, which is really awesome. Was there any specific moments or a specific match that really stood out throughout the week for you?
I mean, we had so many matches where we had to like really fight for it, and that was a lot of adrenaline going there, so that was really fun. Again, Alberta comes to mind just with how loud they were, the Alberta teaching ladies. They're so loud. They have all those cheers that, all those old cheers get everyone going. And so like facing them, I knew we had to cheer just as loud. We had to be just as high energy and go in there and not let them get the edge on us that way. And so that one just really sticks out to me for sure.
I noticed you guys won the first 12 matches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That definitely helps for a national
impressive,
championship,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It just kind of got on a roll and just never stopped, it looked like.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. We kind of came flying out of the gate, and that first day was just wild, and even into the second day, obviously, but it was just like back to back to back, we're winning these matches. And like, holy crap, we're really doing this, guys. Let's just keep it going. And that's what Jody, like our coach, kept saying too. He's like, all right, let's keep it going. Let's, keep working on getting those pins, making sure we're not giving any points away. And that was just kind of how we went the whole time.
Yeah, and you guys weren't like winning by a little bit either. They're all 6s and 7s. Like those are good wins. Yeah. And like way over average. 347, 203, 206. Like, not small wins. Although looking at the stats here, you see most of the teams are quite a bit over average.
Mm-hmm.
As you'd kind of expect at Bonnie Doon too, right?
For sure.
But look at theirs, 2,400 above average.
Yeah.
That's absolutely incredible.
So much.
It was a bit nuts.
That's
collectively
insane.
Averaging 20 pins over your
I
average.
say that looks like my 10-game score, for the week, 23.92.
if you talked to Bailey Lawson, he'd probably say yeah.
So Laura, playing the Open, obviously you've had some experience playing the Open. How was it playing teaching masters when instead of being scratches, pins over average? Was there a little bit of a different thought process or dynamic change that you maybe weren't used to, or your team wasn't?
I'm not sure for my team, but for me personally, it was definitely different because obviously with scratch, it's a little bit more blatant if you're winning your match or not. And with the pins over average, it's like, you got to keep that in mind. But I personally didn't want to know those numbers because then that would get in my head and mess me up. So pretty much my goal was just like shoot as high over my average as possible and make sure that we get as much on the bottom as possible so that we're taking care of any pluses or minuses that we have to deal with. It's very different for sure.
I've coached one thing that was POA match play. It was IP Nationals in Thunder Bay one year. I want to say it was like 2010 or something like that. 2012. And that's exactly what I did too. I didn't even worry about the individual matches at all, honestly. It was just like, okay, where are we sitting at for averages, for team averages? Okay, we just got to beat this, and then we're good. Because you're gonna win the individual matches in there anyways. Everyone's gonna be trying their best to be as much pins over average as possible.
Yeah.
But just worry about that bottom number and kind of go from there. But yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
What this being your first nationals, what do you think is your biggest takeaway from the event overall? Maybe it's something that'll spark that interest or burn to make it back there next year or following years.
Man, that's a good question. I think just like the competitiveness of it. For me, competitive bowling is really my thing. So seeing all those amazing bowlers out there, even across like the tournament and the singles and all that, it's just like, wow, I want to be a part of that again. That's so awesome. And again, just seeing how awesome everyone else does and how well everyone else shoots. So that's a big thing for me.
That was a really nice thing about this Nationals too. And it doesn't happen often, but you get to have all the divisions in one center. I mean, ultimately, you can only do it in Edmonton and you can only do it in Oshawa. Mm-hmm. And that's really like the only two places you could do that. But it was nice to see because everybody can go and cheer on everybody.
Absolutely.
Most of the time it's split up into different centers, and that's great for supporting the centers and stuff like that too, but there's certain divisions you may never see in a weekend. But it was really neat to see that part of it too. So and give people the experience of watching, Mitch do a double fist pump winning his singles title,
Yeah, and the other cool thing with that too is that you get your entire contingent there cheering you on. So for like the Open between split houses, we never really saw like the ladies and the men's teams, for instance, because we had the mixed and the seniors in one house and then the others in there. But with this, it was like you'd go see the men's team and give them a high five, or go see the tournament teams and the teaching teams, just see everybody and be able to cheer each other on in that way. So that was really cool too.
That's why we need to bring Sherwood back.
Yeah, right.
That was the thing, right? Like same idea as Bonnie Doon or Nebs or whatever. It was just, it was always good to have, especially when it was a split house, right?
Yeah.
And, you could just turn around and walk, 20 feet and go see someone else, a mixed team bowl or seniors team bowl for us anyway, seniors team bowl. And, we're kind of losing that, year to year.
Yeah. It was awesome. But half of it is a convenience store now. So we're kind of out of
They got
luck.
lanes there. There's still lanes there though. They're still there.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to take them
24 is
out.
still like tucked away.
Yeah, they're somewhere in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
We won't talk about that. It's still home to me, so
Totally, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, is there anything else you want to touch on at all, Laura? Any shout outs you want to give or anything like that?
Well, I just wanted to say thanks to you guys for doing the streaming, like was touched on before. Like, it gave the opportunity for so many people to see it that couldn't be there. So, for instance, it gave coworkers, friends, family back home the opportunity to watch it, and that was really cool for them to be able to do. So, yes, thank you to you guys for sure.
Yeah, no problem. We really definitely wanted to make sure that we got all the divisions some airtime. It was impossible for us to get everybody airtime, but we tried, and we just think it's important for exact situations like that, right? So, yeah.
Sure.
So Laura, moving in next year, what are your goals for 2023? Obviously, try to make the Masters again. Newfoundland. Is there anything else that's on your bucket list for next year?
See what I can do with the Open again. Our mixed team came in second at provincial, so it'd be cool to see if we can beat that out, or maybe make another team, whatever the case may be. But yeah, just get back into the competitiveness of it some more. Like, I started in YBC when I was really young and bowled until YBC was over, and did a year of Masters and then took 10 years off. So this is me coming back to it all. So
it's a common thing, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
So just kind of to hit my stride again, get my average up again, and get back bowling with everybody.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, this is a huge step, so congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Congrats.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Well, we'll let you go. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, cool. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem at all. And we'll bring in our next guest here right away.
Congrats again.
Thank you.
Thanks, Laura.
Perfect. All right. So our next guest, he was the Teaching Men's Singles Gold medalist. I've got Dylan Stevenson.
Hello.
Welcome
Hello.
aboard.
Hey,
Welcome.
How's it going, everyone?
Good.
Excellent. How are you?
Not too bad.
How are you feeling after the weekend?
Oh, it was incredible, honestly. The whole experience as a whole. Not even the medaling was nice, but just seeing the caliber of bowlers that are across this whole country, it was incredible.
But okay, so let's talk about the caliber of bowlers. There were some records broken over the weekend, tons of them, but you averaged 273. So
awesome. So good.
If you want to talk about top caliber bowling over the weekend, your name is absolutely in that mix. That's incredible.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You were what is it? Plus 878 pins over 21 games.
Wow.
I in the last day, I was going to the last day at about plus 850-ish, and I wanted to try and break the 900 mark, and I got in my own head.
Oh, come on. You want to go 1,000. Come on. Let's be
1,000.
honest. You want
I mean, that'd be cool, but
yeah. Come on. Don't try and undersell yourself.
Yeah, amazing. Averaging 40 pins over your average of going into. That's incredible.
I mean, that's not even mathematically possible for Adam to do.
It is. Trust me. I beat him in average this year at Sunday match. He was not good.
Oh.
I was close.
Actually, you were close.
I think I was close. Actually, not. I don't think it's that high, but it's close.
You're right. It was probably 35. Yeah.
35.
Yeah.
So Dylan, your team gets silver and you get gold. I guess what were your expectations coming into the weekend, and obviously, what were your feelings after the weekend?
I mean, going into it, I was was kind of trying to stay away from the singles aspect, like just focus on the team stuff. And if the singles points came, then they came, and just kind of ride that wave until the end. And then, yeah, I don't know. Throughout the whole tournament, it just got better and better. The energy just from every team just kind of got up and up. And by the end of it, it was something that will definitely be in my memory for like ever.
It's very different how they run the singles for teaching than it is for the tournament division, which I don't mind it, honestly. I don't mind it. How do you feel competing at the same time for both? And I think I would have probably been the same way too, where I probably wouldn't have thought too much about the singles aspect and just focused on the team side of it, because the team side is like where you're going to drive up that adrenaline and that momentum, and you can kind of ride that as well. So I think it's in your best interest to sort of play that way. But yeah, a totally different way of handling singles, kind of neat. Did you ever look at it, be like, hey, like, this is who I'm facing for singles going into each game, or did you not worry about it at all?
Yeah, I mean, I was like trying to pay attention to who I was bowling against, but I wasn't paying too much attention to the scores itself. But I like, because I'm not a very big singles bowler. I like being on a team because I like the energy. I like the riling up and everything. So having it both, it was actually a lot better in my opinion.
So I think all of us, except for Dex, been a singles at Masters Nationals, but I do have a question about it. So if you did your singles the way you guys did it in teaching Masters, and that's fine, would you ever prefer to have a step ladder? Like, I know you won and all, but would you ever prefer to have a step ladder or a final kind of finish for the teaching Masters still? Or do you still prefer it the way you did it, regardless whether you won gold this way or not?
I mean, I wouldn't be against it. I do believe if you want to, like, because the goal is to keep progressing your scores to get better and better throughout your whole career. So having that stepladder might give you that incentive as to what's to come and how to bowl that format better. If you end up making, say, the tournament, the singles.
Yeah. I think with teaching, there's such a broad spectrum, obviously, of averages and stuff like that. So having yourself go in there, you know, normally being what is your normal league average, Dylan? 240?
I mean, I didn't do too well this year, so it was only a 230 this year.
Okay, so a 230 proficient bowler, like a good bowler,
Very solid.
and then exactly, and then you have your teaching division. You might have somebody that's averaging 160, right? So like I think that there's a big confidence level difference in the two of them, and I wonder if that's kind of why they shy away from it. But it is also a national championship where you go in there to compete at the highest level that you can. So I don't think that's a bad thing to do, and I agree with you where it'll teach them to get better in those situations. But the lower averages probably aren't going to be in those situations very often to even utilize that. I don't know.
Well, I mean, like, the good thing about having the lower average going into the teaching division is that it's like, if you throw the right game, you're gonna be so many pins over your average, right? So it could
Right.
Totally.
it could also work in their favor as well.
When I talked about this a little bit with our last guest Laura there, but when I coached in 2012, as Tim corrected me, I had a lady I had a couple people that averaged like 220, and I had a girl that averaged 100. But the great thing about having the person that averages 100 is that their bad games are never going to hurt you. Their bad games are going to be 80. So okay, they're 20 pins below, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like, you know, us averaging 270, you shoot a $190.
It's over.
That really hurts the team. Yeah,
Definitely.
For sure.
Yeah.
it's different. It's neat. But I think that's the really cool thing about the teaching division too, is that you get all spectrums of skill levels, and that's what'll drive people further.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'd assume that you basically found comfort right from the get-go in day one. Did your team find that comfort as well around you?
I mean, it was. They kind of fired me up in the beginning because because I saw them kind of starting a bit strong. So it also fired me up to start strong as well. And I believe the first game was a 395 or something like that. So that kind of gave us that boost to, hey, we can do this. We can keep pushing through and kind of ride the energy all the way through.
Having won the gold medal and silver as well, what's next for Dylan? Like, where do you see your game progressing from here? Is it giving you more drive to do some bigger, better things? Are you just going to try and get back and defend your title?
I mean, the main goal is to try and make the tournament men's team next year, because that's something that I wanted to do this year, but just had a couple bad tournaments and it didn't really work out. But also I'm going to be trying some of the WCBTs next year as well. So that'll also give me the experience against the high caliber bowlers yet again, and hopefully fuel my energy again to make it back next year.
So Dylan, I do want to give maybe a shout out to your Masters. I follow obviously most of the bowling pages out there in the Masters Bowlers Association of Manitoba. Teaching Masters, they do something called was it a run bowl, or what did they do? Royal something?
The Royal Rumble.
So you want to explain what that is? Because I hear that gets a lot of people competing on that.
So they took a trophy and then added the toppers from each trophy all the way around it to make this big, ridiculous looking trophy. And so it's $2 every tournament you put in, and then it's basically elimination style. So after game one, you eliminate some people, and then it keeps going all the way down. And then I believe it's the final 2 games. It's a 2-game roll-off between the 2 finalists, and then winner takes home the prize money as well as the trophy.
Was Hendo involved with this? This feels like Hendo.
Gotta be there.
Like Hendo all over.
I believe it was him and Roland Flag.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love stuff like that. That's cool.
So it's
keep it fun too.
It's not about the money; it's about the trophy, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you get a trophy with 100 toppers on it.
There is something to be said about that, because I remember in 2009 in Regina for the Open, and Jay Young threw a perfect game, and he won like $66,000 for the perfect game. And they asked him right after he threw it, like how much pressure, everything like that. And he said he didn't even think about the money. It was the prestige of having a 450 at nationals. That's all he cared about. And then the money was a bonus. I mean, that's a really good bonus, but the prestige of sometimes oversells the money aspect of things, for sure.
Most definitely.
Can we touch on that for just 1 second? Who else is surprised that there wasn't more 400s and wasn't a perfect game at nationals?
Oh, so shocked.
I'm not shocked, to be honest.
I'm not shocked at the no perfect.
Yeah. Everybody came in there to shoot up big scores, and there was big scores there. But after our open provincials, I really felt like we kind of got an idea what to expect down there, right? I thought. Mm-hmm. I was talking to a few people out there, like Lonnie. I think there was obviously scores to be had, but if you were struggling a little bit down there, I think there was a lot more pressure down there, because you see a lot of scores and you start pressing a little bit more. Yeah. So there is that effect down there, I think, right?
We talked about it. Mitch Davies kept saying it the whole week was, it's the ultimate test of your mental ability, because, I don't know how many times I was on a 4-bagger from the start, and and I pick in 5, and in 6th frame I'm losing. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it just happens over and over and over. It's like a person is, unless they're mathematically out of it, they're never out of it, because you're a couple good shots away from winning and you're 1 bad shot away from losing every single game.
Absolutely. Yeah. I always say it's a different style of game, because you really don't want to punch. Like, punching is bad all the time, but it's a different scenario when your pinfall is that good, because 1 punch can throw you behind real quick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially in that kind of a nice house too. So
I am surprised though, like for the tournament men team, like I thought there would be 1670 or something. You know what I mean? I thought there's something to be truly ridiculous for a score, And it seemed like watching Manitoba, like the first couple days, every time they started a game, it was like, oh, cool, like here they go, like they're gonna get it this game. Oh no, not this game. Oh, okay, they're gonna get it this game. You know, like just there, it was absolutely ridiculous to see some crazy starts from full teams. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we did
like,
see some
like you guys against Alberta.
Yeah. You know what? I will say though, for our match, like I know we were live streamed 2 of them. Man, you could have live streamed all 3 matches because they were all crazy games. You know, like from start to finish, they were unreal. You know, so much suspense, a lot of action. You know, it was crazy.
Not the first one.
So Dylan, we have a few minutes left here. Is there anything you want to give shout out to your team or your coach, or is there anybody back home that helped you out along the way?
I mean, my mom's been supportive of me like throughout the whole bowling season. She's at my every Friday night league I go to, every Masters tournament. She's always there supporting me. So that's always nice having family member there. The team for keeping me fired up. The coach for helping me when I was struggling. And then a big shout out to Adam Rainville from Southern Ontario. Throughout this whole tournament, he was sitting there cheering me on the whole time, and he's just a really genuine dude. It was nice to meet him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Love hearing stuff like that. Awesome. Anything else you guys want to touch on?
Okay, well, I can fire off. I guess a quick question. What advice would you give? Someone who I guess is, on the cusp. Say you said you had a down year 230. To get out and bowl, either teaching or tournament masters. Get themselves. They're kind of thinking about it, but maybe they're a little intimidated. Especially on the tournament side of things. What kind of advice would you give someone who's considering bowling masters of some form or another?
I mean, if besides the competitive aspect of the sport, for masters, it's also all about like having fun and meeting new people. So, if you're interested, then I would say you know how to bowl. You've been doing it for whatever, or even if you haven't been and you want to get into the competitive aspect, just go out there, have fun with it, and it's just great fun. You can't really stress about the bowling side of it as much as you want to or should.
For sure.
Great advice.
It really is.
Got to get out there and play. That's how
Totally.
you get the experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And if you go out there and just enjoy it and not worry too much about it, you're going to play way better.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Play way better. So.
Always.
Awesome. Well, thanks, man. Really appreciate you having come on.
Thanks.
Yeah. Congratulations again. Incredible weekend. A gold medal and a silver medal. Incredible.
Thank you very much, and
setting
thanks for having me.
records, so.
Good job.
Pretty awesome.
Great job,
Congrats.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
All right. So, moving on to our next guest. Tournament men's team gold. Along with Jeffy here.
We're gonna double dip here.
Yeah.
Before you bring him on here, the one thing I do want to say was I had never bowled with Bobby before this past
Whoa.
week.
Now, spoilers.
So never. So I just want to say, it was, something I was really looking forward to. Yeah, it was, and it was everything I hoped it would be and more for sure. It was amazing.
Can I bring him in now, Jeff?
I'm glad
Yeah,
he
go ahead.
didn't disappoint you.
Big surprise is Bobby Torvill.
Hey guys, Jeff, you just broke my heart, Jess. That was so sweet of you.
It was either me or I bring Sky in.
Oh yeah, where is she? Anyways,
I'm surprised she hasn't shown up yet.
She's sleeping. Yeah. Yeah. So he stayed at my place the one time. He sends a video through a night of my dog just constantly for 10 minutes straight licking the top of his head.
Oh man, and it was what, late at night, and even the next day, woke up, she's all over you for like 10 minutes straight, then over to Jordan for 10 minutes, back to me, and I could do nothing but laugh for 10 minutes straight, can't breathe, and she's licking me like you've never been licked before, and it's actually kind of enjoyable. This is Jeff's dog.
That's my kid you're talking
This is Jeff's dog, by the way. Jeff's dog.
Yeah.
Jimmy,
We should specify.
all I have to say
Let's
is
make that clear.
all I have to say is she doesn't know you, Bobby, and what she's doing with you. Imagine somebody she loves like Jeff.
Oh.
I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Yep.
Yeah. How much? A lot of peanut butter?
No.
All right, moving on. So how was the tournament for you guys?
No, the tournament was awesome. And like Jeff mentioned there, I was really looking forward to this one a lot more too, because I've never played with him. Jim, not in Masters either, but at the Open, but Jeffy never, and it was something I was looking forward to, and it turned out, like he said, everything you thought it would be, and it was just, something you'll remember for sure. He's a hell of a player, and definitely enjoyed it, and the rest of the guys too. But
hell of a player. Did you hear that, Bailey?
Yeah, hell of a player. I was a complete boat anchor at the anchor position for the first 2 days.
It was tough to watch at times, yeah, but he pulled through. He pulled through when he needed him.
I mean, Jeffy only averaged 266. That's pretty minuscule, right?
But I mean,
266, yeah.
He was like
after
210 at some point.
I brought that up a long way.
Yeah, it didn't look pretty at times, that's for sure.
No, it never does.
I think we were all at that. We were all there at one point.
So have you guys won a gold medal before Masters?
Bobby has, yeah.
Yeah, that's my fifth.
Your fifth gold medal?
Number three for me.
That's pretty incredible. Do you guys prefer winning the way you guys have, where you don't have to worry about your last game at all?
Honestly,
or do you prefer coming down the wire and having that intensity and winning it on the last frame, sort of thing?
It's a bit of a give and take. So I've won teams 4 times now, and I think almost all of them probably were done before the last game, and I think this one for me mostly it was a grind. It was you're in the trenches pretty hard. I think it was a deep field every game. You had to go all the way through 10 frames with everybody, with the right attitudes and grinding things out, and to go neck and neck with Newfoundland and being like a couple points away and like winning a game and not gaining ground. You might even lose a point, and then you're going down, and the schedule was set up that we were going to take them on in the final game, and you guys, Alberta was not even out of the mix, I don't think, fully. If we had lost the game or something there, and then you would have us going neck and neck with the Newfies, and then Alberta on the side. Like, honestly, that probably would have been a crazy, enjoyable, fun experience. But I don't know if I could have handled it, to be honest. Yeah, for some reason this year, it took me about a game and a half every single day to kind of settle in. I didn't feel good. It was, the nerves were there for some reason. Could have been a little fatigue and stuff like that too, but it was just a while settling in, and I think that last game, it would have been pretty nerve-wracking, but
for sure.
You shot 600 for your first 2.
Yeah, he just hit.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Yeah.
It's a Bonnie Doon 600.
That must have been rough.
Yeah. There was, a few absolute terrible shots mixed in with like some strings, which are not hard there, right?
Yeah.
The one thing that I noticed, especially with your guys' team, is just how balanced you guys were pretty much every game. If one guy was struggling, everybody else was.
You can say it. If I was
4 guys going all the times. Well, no, 266 over a weekend's pretty damn solid, right? So, but you guys had 3.5, 4 guys going literally every game, right? So that type of balance, I think, was probably your biggest strength. You always had a couple, big shooters, which you always had somebody on a run, and it's so incredible how the team can just rally around, one guy who's going big. And then, like you said, Bobby, just kind of settle in, and then the whole team settles in, and you guys are unbelievable when you're rolling as a team.
Yeah.
I want to say too, like I'm sure Bobby, we've talked about this, but I'm sure he feels the same way. But like this team were, complete professionals. You know what I mean? Like every aspect of the game, it was, they were here to win, and there was a goal, and like sure, like you said, you can have like a couple big shooters and kind of carry you, but like that never happened. We all played really smart. We paid attention to our surroundings to use that, hopefully to our advantage down the road. And, and everyone picked each other up. And I've been part of some really good teams, but I had never been part of a team where, 1 through 5 plus coach said everything right, did everything right, and just made it happen.
Yeah. Isn't that the key, though? I mean, you realistically look, every team that wins gels like that, right? And and obviously, we always think the Southern Ontario, any team that comes out of Southern Ontario, whether it's the Open or the Masters, are always a team to be reckoned with, right? Yeah. And you have Bobby there. You had Nathan Cooper. Nathan's a great player. You have yourself, Jeff. Jim Head is obviously a legend out in Ontario.
Hall of Famer.
And Doug Brock is probably, people don't talk about him enough, right? And Dougie can play just as well.
Yeah.
Dougie.
You want a guy to bring energy at the top of a lineup. He's the guy. And that's the thing. Like, he doesn't have to rattle off 4 or 5 in a row to be that guy. Like, it's just everything about him. His, his attitude, his mannerisms, everything like that is just gets you fired up.
Yeah, and him too. Like, he'll probably be the first one to say like he wished he played a little bit sharper, not pick as much, or just be better at certain times. But he played the part perfectly. I played 2-hole 95% of the time, and it was just so easy to follow him regardless of what he was shooting. And that made it a lot easier on me too. And then I think that just trickled down. Everybody was confident. Yeah, but Dougie, he's a little underappreciated, I think, out there by some people.
100%.
Yeah.
But that just shows the absolute importance of attitude. And we've said it lots on this. It's like, hey, like, you don't have to play your absolute best. There are bigger things than averaging, 350. Like, there's bigger things than that. And if you can make the people around you better by having a good attitude and not sulking when you do struggle, that is far more important.
I will admit that one person on the team that wasn't bowling very well actually laid down in traffic the one night.
He did.
Calgary Trail or whatever that road is. I literally laid down on the road because I'm like, I can't do this. I'm so terrible. I just
that's ballsy.
I did. I laid right down.
He did. There was traffic, not a lot, but there was traffic.
So I obviously I wasn't there, but I was watching the scores diligently throughout the time. There was points where it looks like there was a 4-team race. Dynamic wise, I mean, Manitoba, obviously you said there was throwing lots of bombs and lots of strikes and stuff like that.
They were unreal.
Alberta was in there for a while as well. Was there certain teams that you guys got up against, or certain teams that that you're a little bit more worried about, or how is that kind of dynamic as a whole for a tournament?
I think every time coming out it's always looking at Alberta. You guys are so deep and so good. And Manitoba has become a real force out there. But I think this might have been the deepest. I looked at all the teams. I was like, damn, you know what? I didn't really look at names too much before going out there. And I was like, fuck, like, these are good teams, man. And you can't lay down against anybody. So, but yeah, even Saskatchewan's a real solid team. Yeah. They're all good. And then the Newfies, like the attitude they bring to the lanes and the brotherhood that they always have. And they're just chucking balls out there like Shane Chape's just a bulldozer. So that's scary as it is, right?
Yeah.
So
how crazy is it to play in a tournament where you have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or at least 4 teams averaging over 270?
Wow.
It's crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
Like 4 teams that average over 1350 a game.
It was good. And we lost about numerous games with 1400s. Or like around there. They came down to the wire. They were intense matches, so it was just fun, like with teams being that good and that deep and having to forget the last match and be ready for the next one right away, or else you're done. It's a challenge and it's a mental grind, but so fun out there when the competition's like that strong and that deep.
I have to give a shout. I know we talk a lot about Ontario and Alberta and our young players we have coming up. We have lots of great young players coming up, but Newfoundland and Manitoba, like you mentioned, they have a lot of great talent
it's
coming
crazy.
up. And they're going to be reckoned with for all these events that we've got coming up. So really exciting to see that come up.
We played the first time we played against Manitoba. We had Trevor and Dwayne were on like 6-baggers at the same time, and Randy was bowling lead off. He had a 4-bagger at the same time. They had 6-baggers. They just absolutely throttled us. And the next time we bowled them, it was the top 3 guys that were like, what do they have, like 1,500 for their three?
It seemed like 20 bagger between them or something.
And it's like, and you look at them too, and they're kids. Like for the most part, they're kids. You know, like it's cool, but it's scary. You know what I mean? 'Cause these guys are going to be bowling like same with the newfies. You know, like these guys are going to be bowling like you're going to see those guys for decades.
We've talked about him a few times on this, and I'll say it again because I think he deserves it. But Colton Uswa is incredible. Like he struggled the first day, and then the day where you guys had the 4 games, he shoots 1,400 for 4.
Yeah. Well, he had what was his 7?
It's almost 1,000.
7-game stretch was like 2,600 or something. I don't know, something crazy like that. Like,
and he's there's no arrogance to the kid. He's just
he's great.
He's just a super kind, respectful kid that plays with a ton of energy, and that kid's gonna go far in the game.
Yeah, I saw him at a couple TBC and Red Deer this year, and he's got a lot of energy, and I never knew him before, and I was like, okay, this is, he's getting pretty amped up. But met him and got to talk to him a little bit and see him every day and say hi and chat and whatever. Like, he's actually a really good dude.
Super genuine.
Yeah, I was happy to meet him and to see him bowl and go off like that for that stretch was incredible.
I think that's what the one thing to say too. Like my first year at Nationals was 2003, and the landscape has changed so much in the 19 years since I bowled the first one, and there are like no stick in the mud, old arrogant guys anymore. It is a group of solid players and better people. You know what I mean? And like, we're lucky that we're in a sport where that's the case, where, like the camaraderie or the sportsmanship is second to none. It's unreal how you have so many talented people and they're all the best of their own, like their own area, but still, have that, little extra about them that, draws you to them. Yeah.
We're so lucky. We really are. And obviously I didn't play the game 40 years ago, but I've heard, we've all heard countless stories about how cutthroat it was then. Yeah. And I'm so glad that our culture has changed to be so inclusive of people, because that is what will build our game as well. You want to bring more people into the tour events and Masters and the Open and all these things, and they're never going to play if they think that you're dickheads, right? So we're at a point in the game where, the upper echelon of people are good people. They're good people, and they're not going to change that. They're not going to try to push their own agenda and knock these young guys out for their own benefit. It's inclusive, it's good, and I'm really proud of the culture that 5-pin bowling is at this point.
Yeah. For everybody at a Masters in the last bunch of years or have gone in and out, hop back on. Like, let's go. Nationals is amazing. And I'd love to, we talked about it with Mitch and Jeffy a couple times, like, if we just get everybody that dropped in and out, or everybody that's anybody in the province, and start playing Masters, let's get up to 70, 80 people at a tournament, like once a month again. Or I know schedules are tough, but to compete at that level and then to get to go and just seeing you guys and everybody from every province, man, like, it's so enjoyable, and you just appreciate the friendships and what bowling's starting to become again. I think there's a good vibe, and I think everybody should hop back on and ride it out. Let's go.
And next time we're out west, we're gonna do the Vegas trip after. We're gonna do
everybody.
Like, can you imagine that? Like, next time like, save as like BC or Alberta again. It's like you have that couple days after the tournament's over. Everyone just fly to Vegas instead. How cool would that be?
Gong Show Central.
We were talking about that.
We would lose half the people.
Yep.
But necessary sacrifice for a little bit of fun.
Just one.
So people selling their medals. That's a contract.
That's right.
Just hawking them.
Yeah.
All right, Bobby, thank you so much for coming on. We'll have to have you on for a full-length podcast, but really appreciate having you on here. I know it's well past your bedtime. It's been well documented in our group chat. You look like you're ready for bed, so...
I'm out in 2 minutes, but thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. It's really cool. You guys do a great job, and yeah, keep killing it.
Congrats on
Bobby.
that amazing tournament, buddy.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Congrats, bud. See it.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff, are you going to spoil who's coming on next?
So the next person that comes, no, I'm not. I'm signing up now.
All right, so our next guest, this one's pretty incredible. Our tournament ladies singles gold champion, good friend of us, good friend of the show, amazing promoter of the sport. Tracy Smith. How you doing?
Oh, you're on mute.
We can't hear you. You are on mute.
Curtis
Sorry,
set the
guys.
computer for
There we
There
go.
you
That was
are.
a rookie move.
It's the first time on the show, right?
I know, right?
Oh, wearing the old
Doing great.
TNT hat. I see.
Oh yeah, I had to for Tyler and I. I had these made up for both Tyler and I.
That's awesome.
hmm
How are you? How are things?
I'm doing great. It's a week later. It still hasn't sunk in.
Yeah.
I've watched it several times, and I still am in disbelief.
Yeah.
You were
It happened.
rock solid in that step ladder, like rock solid.
I mean, I don't remember much, and I've watched it several times, and I've leaned into a couple of people to say, hey, what did you see? Because I'm trying to embrace people's perspectives around like what happened. The only thing that I remember is I kept saying to myself through the whole thing, through the stepladder, remember why you're here. And that's all I said. And I'm going to get emotional, but there was a calmness and a confidence behind it.
You could absolutely see it, Trace.
Yeah.
You could absolutely see it. There didn't look to be a single amount of nerves in you at all. You
Zero.
Yeah.
There was not, I've talked to Curtis and Kaylin about this a little bit. There was not one moment, even when I was feeling a little bit tight initially. There was not, my dogs are having a wrestling match right here, sorry. There was not one moment where I had any fear. It was really strange.
It's awesome. It's
So-
incredible to be able to get to that point as a superpower, right? If you get to that point, you're going to be really tough to beat, and you are already really tough to beat. So to have you put yourself into that position, I'm not surprised that you did it.
I guess
No surprise at all.
I mean, there's a lot of prep. There was a lot of prep this year, right? And it's been a long journey for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
37-year attempts at Masters, not only making 21 teams, coming close to making singles, but never really, able to. Even this year, I just got to say, like that Alberta women's team, I mean, even women who didn't make the team this year, to make the bottom spot was 256 this year. So it's incredibly crazy. And even in that last game, I mean, we had Jennifer and even Diane, who Jen threw like a 7-bagger the very last game. Not that they needed to be truly worried about making the team, but Jen threw a 7-bagger, Di was a 5-bagger, and I threw a 9-bagger to sort of clinch that spot, like in the very last game. And I don't know where it comes from sometimes, but it comes from somewhere, and it's just one of those really great memories.
Well, that's the thing too. I know you're a huge ambassador for getting more women to bowl more competitively, and for anyone that wants to see why you're the perfect role model for any bowler out there, all they have to do is go to the live stream, watch those matches, not necessarily just the scores, but how you carry yourself, when you're not throwing the ball, and see, what a champion looks like, to be honest.
I mean, I think this year, because there was so much prep work, like Pro League was crazy good for me this year. I thoroughly enjoyed being part of the Marvels and just that whole experience and getting kind of that anticipation and fire back to kind of win for the team. That was huge. I was prepared to do all WCBT events and had to cancel my flight going to Regina because I tested positive for COVID.
Right.
I wanted to like leverage that. And then Heritage, I wanted to use, Heritage as kind of the platform for practice prior to Masters. And I actually fell down the stairs and I hurt myself really, really bad. I still went to go and support Heritage because I think too, it's interesting when you can go and watch intently on some of that like serious elite competition. So I still wanted to kind of feel that vibe, even though I couldn't necessarily put my shoes on and throw some balls. And I didn't know how long it would take me to recover from that really bad fall. And I was like I almost felt a little bit, I was trying to stay positive, but in a way I was feeling like it was a bit of a curse. Like, am I not ready to do this one thing that I've been chasing for so long and all these little hiccups, this year. But then I slowly got back out and I softly started throwing balls like 8 weeks prior to the event. Then I went out every week. I had huge support on a weekly basis, throwing balls, practicing, leaning into some of the greats of the game who had experience in a role like this, because I was just so used to having this posse of women around me all the time, competing at a high level on teams. And to not have that, and then to try and adjust your thinking where it's just, it's me and Tyler, and how do I be a good support person or role model for Tyler? And all these things were going through my head. And I don't know if you watched in the stepladder, but I intently made sure that I was being patient. Every single ball, tried not to rush. I tried to think through things. And that was all part of the game plan. I asked somebody to be there for me as a coach for the whole week, Jeff Wilson, who, dedicated, taking some time off working with me prior to work on the mindset that worked for me, not a coaching mindset of but what was going to make me tick in those moments. And if I struggled, how could we get out of it quick enough, I guess.
Amazing.
And finally getting to the final, I think you finally got to that kind of proverbial zone that I think everybody strives to achieve, but very few get to that exact moment. All that prep work that you did, leading up, and not just this year, we're talking, that we've personally been talking quite a bit over the last 3-4 years, specifically for this particular moment. And, some things just take time, right? Things happen for a reason. All that work that you've done, like I said, 37 years to get to that particular moment. This is why you got to that moment, right? And for you to fully grasp, and even in the step ladder, sorry, not the step ladder, the round robin, being able to be around Ty and be that role model in the pit there as well, I think elevated your game to get you to where you finally landed for the step ladder, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was just amazing, and I just tried to be as strong and fiery as I possibly could to help like him, but I also got it back in return, right? Like it was so unconditional. So I feel really, really grateful.
Yeah, that's just who Ty is too. I think the two of you would be absolute perfect singles teammates. Yeah,
it was awesome.
Similar mindsets, similar disposition. And the quiet confidence, and then the quick intensity, and then back to the quiet confidence. I think that quiet confidence that you exude, especially in that step ladder, has got to be intimidating.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, even
I do know.
We know.
I mean, I don't know what I don't know, but what I will say about like the ladies who represented their province this year, they were amazing. And, I didn't have, a record, breaking qualifying match. I lost 5 matches in the 10th frame, but I also won 2 matches in the 10th frame. So you always kind of look for the positive. But there, I went 0-4 against Alyssa. Right, I lost against her in the tiebreaker, and then Jess, I didn't win a match against Jess either, and then from there it was probably pretty equivalent, for the majority of the other players that were playing. But again, as strange as it is, because I've had moments where I've had a lot of fear. As strange as it is, even if I had a 4-3 record, back-to-back 2 days, and then I finished with a 5-2 record on the last day, I just didn't feel worried.
No.
And I don't know why, and I don't know where it came from.
So, Tracy, obviously we all look up to you immensely, and I don't think anybody could have been. No, I don't think anybody. Everybody was super happy that you won. I think the whole country was cheering you on.
Thank you.
And nothing against the other ladies. They're all obviously they all cheer for them, but it was something special for you to win. But when you went to nationals, I had real no feeling other than that you're going to win. I follow your posts. I follow your inspirational, emotional posts throughout your whole journey this year, right? And your post after you won singles, won it finally. And you just knew it was going to happen. I think it was like a power box or something with butterflies or whatever it was on it, right?
Yeah.
I just knew that it was just meant to be, and you kind of, maybe that's why you just didn't have any nerves, because it was just destiny, right? You always believe in things sometimes, and the right moment at the right place, and I truly believe it was your time. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I really appreciate that. I think, particularly if you've struggled in the game and things haven't come easy, and listen, I've had a lot of success and like wonderful moments in the sport, but I've also had a really hard journey in the sport, right? It's not always been easy, and I've worked with a lot of people, including Adam, to like just reset the mindset, and I think it's so critical to kind of give yourself a little bit of a hall pass when things don't necessarily go your ways, and be kinder to yourself, and kind of reset and do some reflection, and that's all the work I've been doing the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mental preparation is huge, and it's not taken nearly as seriously as it probably should be in the game. And but your comfort level is a testament to it.
Yeah, Thank you. Thank you.
It was a really cool moment seeing you win it with. Curtis there, but sharing it with CJ, right? Yeah. Right. Those moments don't come around that often, so.
Yeah, great. I'm not too sure what you said because you froze, Tim. So I didn't.
I said it was great. I said it was great for you to obviously win it in front of people that you always loved, and Curtis is one thing, but winning in front of CJ is definitely a special moment, right? So.
I think being at home, Tim, like you're spot on. That's that's my hometown. It's where I'm from. My sister was there. Yeah. It's where my parents lived, right? And just having all of you guys around was so great. I'm trying not to be emotional, you guys. But you talk about my mom and dad. Heavy loss, right, with my mom's passing last year. I essentially lived with Adam for a good chunk of time, Adam and Lucy, as we walked that journey with her. But just crazy that it was in Edmonton, and honestly, there was just a lot of weird signs the whole week.
I think it's like exactly what Tim said. It just seems like it's destiny, right?
Yeah, crazy. Sorry, I'm so emotional, you guys, but it's my parents. It's all good. Yeah. Yeah.
And any last remarks?
No, I mean, wild ride, right? Just a wild ride, and I would just say, is obviously happy about the outcome of last week. I was happy to watch a lot of amazing bowling. I was blessed to be beside Tyler. My best friend Jennifer broke a record. Adam broke a record, like just the amazing.
Spoilers.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. You said last remarks, so I want to get everything out there. But just like the incredible scoring overall by people, the commentary in the live stream, I think was great.
Well, that was a little suspect at times.
Yeah. But yeah, obviously it was just an amazing experience to be a part of, and I feel super, super blessed. And I would just say, if you've had a bit of a difficult time, in your game, in any moment or an event or whatever, I would just keep saying, keep with it. If you've got the desire, keep going. That hard work really does pay off.
Congratulations, Tracy.
Thank
once
you.
Again.
Thank you.
I don't know if there's another person that's more deserving. So
Thank you.
Long
just
overdue.
glad we were all there to see it.
Yeah,
Congrats.
awesome. Thank you, you guys.
We'll see you in August as our captain of the Gallagher Cup winning team. So
I'm
Yes.
excited. I'm excited. Yeah, no playing favorites, right?
yeah.
Okay,
There's wine
enjoy
in
the
it.
rest of. I know. Okay. All right. Enjoy the rest of the podcast, you guys.
Thank you,
Thanks for everything.
Congrats again.
Congrats,
Okay.
Trace.
Bye.
Bye.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think she touches on something right at the end there that's really important too, is like, we've all had a lot of accomplishments and done some great things, but we all fight demons, and it's not, every day is not rainbows and puppies. You know what I mean? Like there are some big battles going on, within yourself. And that, I guess that truly makes, when you finally you win that championship, it makes it, all the sweeter.
Sometimes you just sit there and wonder, am I overrated? So, all right, so bringing in our next guest, Tournament Ladies Team Gold. Tracy just touched on this person, another incredible ambassador of our game. Jen Smith.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
How are things?
Well, they're okay. Busy. Just rushing from soccer, getting the boys down, and yeah. The life for little kids, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just gonna turn down your mic levels.
Oh, do you know what? So I'm on Graham's laptop, so
No, I got you covered.
would you? Thank you.
Yeah, we're good. How are you feeling after the week? Has it sunk in? Yeah.
It took a while, but yeah, what a ride. That's really, like Tracy said, what a ride. For a house that I've struggled in for how many years? Don't even know. But yeah, it was incredible to have the team that we had. No drama, we were there for one goal, and we worked at that one goal as a team. There was not any pouty face, like it was just a really different vibe. I've had some great teams that I've played on, but this one was definitely something special.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the stats alone, you could tell that you guys gelled. When you guys go, 19-2?
Yeah.
19-2. Set a bunch of records. Did that tie the record, or is it the record?
That tied the record, I believe.
Tied the
I
record.
believe so.
Yeah.
Incredible. Again, another situation. You guys go into the last 2 games, maybe 3 games, and it didn't
Last
matter.
day.
Did your last day matter at all for you?
Yeah, we needed 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no.
So, no.
Yeah.
You know what? Like, and a team can crumble easily. And our first match, we were way behind. We came back and won it in the 10th frame. We were sitting, I think we were sitting 6-2, and we ended up going 7-1. Complete swing in the 10th frame.
That was your first game on the last day?
Yeah, against Northern Ontario.
Yeah. And then once that happens, the pressure's off, right? Now you guys can actually celebrate and enjoy it, and
Exactly.
yeah. I mean, the next game you guys still shot good. You shot 12:55 your next game. It
Yeah.
only took one. That's one of your 2 losses, but what was
a way to go out?
Yeah. What was the feeling of that game? Like, I mean, you guys shot 250 average. Like, that's good, but like, was it kind of a letdown? Was it kind of calm? Was it less intense? Was it more intense? How did that game feel?
It was definitely less intense.
Yeah.
It was like there was peace. Like we accomplished, we had been so intense for 19 games before that, and we still stuck together. We still had laughs, but it just wasn't the same adrenaline pushing us through for that win.
Mm-hmm.
Still scoring well, but just...
Look at your last game, like Ho-Hum almost 1,600, right? So
yeah.
Yeah, so
you guys got pissed off you lost a game?
It was just, like I said, I don't even know how to describe the feeling. Like I said, I've been in that shoes so many times, but it definitely wasn't what I experienced the last week. Like just the way we just the way we gelled. Like there's no words for it.
Yeah.
There was no cattiness. There was just nothing. Like it was just everything was right. There was, when someone was down, they never showed any emotions of being any sort of negative, but we all just picked up the pieces. We all just found ways to pick up someone that was struggling. Could be just words of encouragement, like, and it was just, even those words, like, they didn't happen that much throughout the whole week. Like, people just knew. It was, like I said, a feeling I've not felt on a team. And we've had some really good teams. I've played with some really good friends. And this team was really different for me. And, the way we came together was unbelievable.
Just very, very business-like, very, very similar to you guys, Jeff.
Yeah.
Right? It's just pure purpose and just go out there and execute.
And I wonder, too, like, with the way things have been in the last few years, has it changed our mentality a little bit, like, because like I said, like back my first year in 2003, it was so much more cutthroat, where this was more like people were more professional, more, stick with it together kind of thing that I've seen in the past. And I don't just mean like in our division, but I mean, like, it just seemed like across the board, and talking to everybody so far tonight, like it seems to be a reoccurring theme that, this year was different, or, everyone did this, like, I don't know if I've been part of a nationals, either here or the Open, where that's really been the case, across the board.
And the vibe and just the respect level. Mm-hmm. Like you were saying, Jeff, like it didn't feel as cutthroat. Like just the respect from other competitors. Like it was just, I don't know what to say about it. Like it was a completely different feeling this time around than it has been.
Where does this rank in your bowling resume, this win in this tournament?
It's up there. I think I've had some memorable ones, but this one I think is the icing on the cake right now.
Yeah.
I've had days, like we've had nationals where we haven't even had to play the last day. We've needed 1 point going into the last day. But like I said, you've always had those hiccups and picking up someone's emotions, and I can't say the emotions weren't there, but the emotions weren't displayed. If someone was having a tough go, they still held their head high and worked on everything. They supported you. They weren't in the back doing their own thing. It was just, we stuck together like glue. Like, honestly, there's no other way to put it. And I've been on a lot of teams, and people, when they're struggling, they separate themselves. But this just wasn't the case this time. It was truly amazing.
It's awesome. I love that that's becoming a trend, because that's you talk about that professionalism, and that's such a huge part of it. It's awesome.
Like the amount of games that we were behind the 8 ball, like Quebec, we were down like 200 points at the half. and we ended up beating them by 300 points. Like there was 2 open marks in 6 and 7 after the half. That was it. And that was me in 6 and 7. And that was one of my tougher games, but they pitched me up. And then, come out for a huge important match against Ontario. And I pick up their pieces, I start us off with a 7-bagger. Like there was just, and after 4, you could just see the shoulders of the team. Like they were at ease. They're like, okay, she's going, let's help her out. There was just like, there wasn't that pressure like, oh my God, I got to contribute. It was just, you could just see everyone step back, relax, and it was game time. It was go time. And that happened a lot. And it, like I said, it was just phenomenal feeling, and just watching it happen was incredible.
So, Jen, let's maybe talk about you a little bit here. Obviously, new national championship record, average 283. Adam, you had a 303 average. That's absolutely amazing. What does it feel like breaking that record for both of you guys?
So many demons that Bonnie doing for me. The fact that it didn't excite me to go in there and play a national event knowing what people can score there. But I don't know what came over me, to be honest. I found something, and hopefully that's what carries me through when we have to play in that house. But I don't know if it was, like I said, I don't know if it was just the support I had behind me and the confidence they put in me to be where I was at last week. I don't know, but it sure felt good.
I bet. I don't think that either of those records for you or Adam are going to be broken anytime soon. Those
I agree.
are going to be tough.
In all honesty, like for myself, you would think I would have done it back in the day when I was like super hot. But to come out and do it like 23 years later in the Masters, never thought that would ever happen.
It was you and your best friend's weekend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just awesome. Just, really neat.
A huge shout out to Shane Chafe too. So the guy gets in like 3 a.m. the morning of day one with all the flight issues and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And comes out and ties Jim Head's national record for 18-3 wins. I think he played lead off the entire time, averages 290. It's a incredible weekend for Shane.
Adam, we don't talk about Shane.
No, I can. I played against him.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. I mean, and Adam, how does that make the 303 average? Was that something that I know you've always had that 300 average in the back of your head for these kind of events, especially at Open Provincials. I know that was in the back. So for you to get that, and beating Fessy Toffermar from BC forward, right?
From BC, yeah. Good old Fressy. No, it's pretty cool, right? But I'm waiting for others to kind of throw the old asterisk on there, Bonnie Doon, and it was kind of almost out of necessity. Myself, Maddie played incredible as well this week. We had a couple guys that struggled, so it was almost kind of out of necessity to kind of elevate even more. But it's a cool outcome. Unfortunately, it's kind of bittersweet, right? We didn't get the ultimate goal that we were trying. It's cool. It'll be up there a few years, I think.
The one thing I want to say too, the whole asterisk thing, having bowled, 21 games there. The place scored well, but it was hyped like it was going to be ridiculous.
Yes.
Scores were great. Place wasn't that easy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like Jen said about, kind of struggling at that house. I can understand why. I definitely can understand why after the first couple days. But you know what I mean? It wasn't like, you could miss the middle, throw a strike, or like a chop was an automatic strike. See. I bowl in some places that are like that, and it was just it rewards really good balls. You know what I mean? Your margin for error is a little bit increased, but it wasn't ridiculous. You know what I mean? It wasn't crazy.
Yeah.
What do we have? What, five 400s?
Yeah.
Yeah. And and that. And then
At that caliber,
could be,
that's not a lot.
that could be every year. It could be
Yeah.
every year. Yeah.
And and I
Seven
appreciate
forwards.
I appreciate you saying that, Jeff. Maybe gives us some more credibility for all our bowlers that play out of there, because we've always said it. Like, and it killed our Wednesday night league, and I always said that, because the first one who punched,
I can
the first
understand
one, it lost a lot of luster with it, right? And like, there is still a lot of pressure. You still have to throw the strikes, and if you see people throwing well, it's tough when you're trying to push the ball in there, right? So. There is it's a different game, a different mindset, a different way to think the game there, and it is there is some toughness to it,
And as a proprietor, like, isn't that not what you want? Is really good scoring? I always say, like, the adage where, the tougher centers, and the proprietor says, well, like, I want my place scoring tough because I want my bowlers to reward it. It's a terrible business plan.
Yes.
It's a terrible business plan. You want your customers to be happy.
Yeah.
For them to be happy, you have to let them score well, and you do it within reason. And I think that's the case here.
Yeah.
I mean, you're kind of used to playing at a pie house after Elmira, right?
Well, and that's the thing. Like, people say Victoria is even easier than my place was. Like.
I don't. Yeah. It wasn't even one of the favorite places on 5 Pin Universe there. I know
That's
for
right.
sure.
But we do appreciate you saying it, because honestly, and this sounds dumb, but I've heard it a lot over the last year.
Yeah.
That the only reason Alberta has great players is because they play in easy centers.
You guys have great
And I've
players.
heard that lots.
You guys have great players, but you have great culture, and you've got great leaders, and that's why. That's it. It doesn't need to be
All
anything.
across the
You can be
board.
playing in a really tough center, or you play an easy center. If you don't have the culture and you don't have the role models, it doesn't make a difference.
Well said.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
Very
We
well
just
said.
had the two of them last one, Jen and Tracy, on, right?
Absolutely.
Perfect examples right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jen, is there anything else you'd like to touch on while you're on?
No, it's like I said, I think it's a ride that I won't forget for a long time, and I don't think there's one that'll top this one for a long time. Not saying I'm gonna make it next year or the year after, but this is one that is stuck in the bank for a while. This is one that you cherish that medal and you go from there. And I hope to play with those same ladies all over again.
Awesome.
I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Winning kind of in your home province is pretty sweet as well, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I've had that side on the open, but we've never in Calgary, when Masters were in Calgary, it was not a good showing for us at all. But like I said, chemistry is key, and we certainly had it.
Awesome.
Oh, pretty awesome.
Congratulations again, Jen. Thank
Congrats.
you so much
Thank
for
you
coming
so
on.
much.
And thank you for being such a great ambassador for the game as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks for having me on again. It was a great time.
Yes. Congrats, Jen. Thanks.
Okay. Have a good one, guys.
Thanks, Jen.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right.
So we're 3 minutes over, and we promised them we'd be on time. Don't worry. Our next guest will get his full 15 minutes in.
That's right. All right, so our next guest, our seniors team gold champion, none other than Mr. Jeff Bourne. You've got your 15 minutes. Go.
Now.
Okay, here's the headline. No. Well, the headline was that Ontario was going for their 5th straight championship. And unfortunately, they had a really bad start. They were 7 and only got 7 points in their first 4 games. We got 24 in our first 4 games. So they couldn't come back on us. And Quebec, we just snuck out. And we beat Saskatchewan 21-3. And Saskatchewan beat them 17-7. So those are like the 2 turning points really in the whole tournament. We only beat them by like 2.5. We had a tie at one point. I struck out in the 10th frame to get us a tie. And it was funny, in that game against Newfoundland, their veteran went and threw 2 balls in a row in the 10th. So that was a dead ball. They had to come back, and so she didn't get her spare on that. But she got her spare, and they got a 2-pin. So instead of winning, we got a tie. But it was an interesting experience. I'll say that for sure.
Yeah. So is this your first year playing in the seniors division?
First time I ever played at the Nationals.
Okay.
But we play in the province all the time. The number of players that'll be in the scratch division for the Manitoba teams is dependent on how many players actually participate. Excuse me. If
Same
there's
with
ever a
Alberta
time
as well.
where half the field is scratch and half the players are POA, then there'll be 2 or 3 people on the team. So
How was it to play POA at the Nationals?
For someone who plays at such a high level and such a high competitiveness, how was it?
well, we agreed that the team wouldn't even look to see how many pins they were giving away ever. Just throw the highest score you can and figure it out later. So there was a few matches where Tracy Smith or Brian Hendrickson would come up the lane and we'd go, "You won." "I won?" Yeah, they would be surprised that they won, but they were keeping their heads in the game and, staying in the moment. That dreaded sports cliche, which is oh so true. But I found difficult mostly was the pace of play.
Yeah, certainly.
And of course, there's not the intensity that you're used to in the tournament division in the pits. There's really not much screaming and yelling.
Yeah. You kind of have to create your own intensity inside you. I don't even know how intense you could be outwardly, even. It's just a very different sort of atmosphere, for sure. Not a bad atmosphere, but definitely different from what you would be used to, for sure.
Well, in our 4th game, when we played Alberta, and we were pretty much tied after 4 games, I look back at the stats. Our 154 average bowler, Brian Hendrickson, threw a 378.
It was absolutely awesome.
I've never seen anything like it, and that's a point where I thought maybe we could actually win the tournament, because if he's that tough and he's our rookie and he's our low average bowler, it proved to be true in later games too. He struck out in the 10th one game for like 161, but to go get his point, and it was just remarkable to watch. And the lady right in front of me, Carol Billick, she was 17-4. No one practiced harder than her, and she only got on the team because Noreen chose to go be in the ladies team. She made both teams, so it was a good break for Carol.
Awesome.
Right. Well, I obviously Mr. Hendrickson taught Brett and Robbie everything he knew, right? So there's no big surprise there, right? So
I don't think I was more happy for somebody than Brian, like watching him throw that big game and just like how happy he was and elated, and like, you're 154 average bowler and you go to the highest level of the game, and there he is. He shoots a 378. Like you can't ask for anything better.
Well, and as soon as he threw it, I said, "Oh, that's going to win the money." I mean, plus 224, that's such a high score. But then I found out later, the game 1 of the tournament, of course, the POA lady had the front 10.
Yeah.
She was plus 240 or plus 239. Like, we need extra frames to beat our average by that much.
Well, that's exactly it. Yeah. It's crazy.
How did it feel being in arguably the best match of the entire tournament, you and Mr. Rossetti?
Well, it's the first time actually I was in a match like that against a guy. Like, you know how it goes when you're on a team. If somebody in the other team is going in there in the one hole and I'm in the anchor, you sort of trade off that match.
Sure.
So I've been in that kind of situation before, but to actually go against toe-to-toe, and then we got the corner in the 9th and we were both looking at 418. That was pretty exciting, but he went first. He got his strike, and I had to give him 25. So he shut me out with his first strike. And I think I might have... One of the reasons I missed because I was sort of PO'd. I couldn't win anymore, and we were going to get a 7-1, so they beat us up 7-1. So, but it was a lot of fun to throw those shots. I mean, I didn't know if we'd ever get to go to the Nationals ever again with the COVID thing. It's just so great to meet everybody and to play at that level again and have that intensity. It's awesome.
Yeah. Was it neat to be able to go to Nationals with your son?
Well, what a show for Ryan.
Yeah.
He really wanted to average 300. He saw the pins going like that, and that's one of the reasons he maybe had his intensity up all the time, even when he won matches. That was a disputed thing. But I bowl with him in Thursday Night League, and he's really low-key. But when he brings a certain intensity that he really amps himself up for these tournaments that it's a funny thing, in a sport where you get mad at people for kicking racks and getting mad and yelling and swearing. A guy's getting grief because he's cheering too much. It's weird.
Yeah. I personally, I kind of understand both sides of it. I do, and like, if he's wanting to play as well as he is, I totally get it. And if getting amped up to that point is what does it for you, then that's awesome. I also understand people being frustrated when the match is over and he's that intense. I understand that too. Just the camaraderie side of things, right, too. But if you don't have an off switch, and maybe you're not truly paying attention to that, then I get it as well. I see both sides.
I agree. I see both sides, and in the same way that, like, when I was playing baseball and I was a shortstop, you were always out at first. When I'm the runner, I was never out at first. I'm watching Ryan with rose-colored glasses. So if he wasn't my son, I'm sure I might have something to say about him screaming in my ear all the time. But if a guy's like that and you know he's going to do that, you just can't really time him on the approach anymore.
Yeah.
You got to let him finish his entire turn and then go up. And so.
Yeah. So that's a good question. As a father, I mean, you've been in that position where Ryan's been in before. Obviously, you won your gold. You won a couple silvers as a single. What was it like for you to watch that?
Well, it was, looking back at the whole thing, I actually ran into Tyler in the hall later in the evening after the banquet. He was touring with Tracy. And I said that Ryan sort of gave him the Lenny Anseth. Ryan played so fast, I think Tyler played too fast. So neither of them was really getting set. Yeah. And then when Ryan went to play Mitch, it was the same thing. Like, I kept telling Ryan to, like, take a deep breath, like, have a moment, but he just kept rushing, and Mitch did a great job of just sort of pacing around until he felt it, and he went on the approach, right? So he did a better job of collecting himself. So I think the next time, hopefully there's a next time, when Ryan gets in that situation, he'll have a better idea how to handle it. But I mean, the first time I was singles, I got a bronze in '93, and I went like 230, 170. I was lost at sea in that format, in front of all those people. Even though I've been on TV a couple of times, it's so much different to have all those people watching you live. But that's when I turned to karaoke. If I can learn to sing in front of them, I can learn to bowl in front of them. So.
I should have had that video ready, actually.
That does bring me to my next question. Like, are you as chapped as everybody else that we didn't find out who won the talent contest?
Oh.
They never mentioned a winner.
We'll have to talk to Hendo.
So that'll maybe for our next guests.
Well, spoilers.
Yeah, you just did it.
No, I said talk to
Hendo. You were awesome in that talent contest. It was pretty good. Crooning.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it.
I did find out that 2 minutes before you went on stage, you didn't know the words this week. Caroline.
I never even rehearsed that song one time before I sang it. So, but I sang to the radio so many times, I just didn't know what the words were. It's like when you talk about Purple Haze. Excuse me while I kiss this guy, instead of kiss the sky. It's tough to tell.
So out of all your Masters experiences, you've been on the tournament men's team, you've been tournament singles, seniors. Have you won all three now?
Yeah, I got 3 team golds, 1 singles, and now I got a seniors gold. And I thought only one other guy maybe had that, Tom Stevenson. And I mentioned it to Brian Rossetti. He goes, yeah, but he coached the ladies team to a goal too. I'm going, damn it.
So you got to coach.
He's still ahead of me. I'm going, do I got to quit to coach Ty Tom? Nah, I think I can still play. So
I don't think Tom has a seniors men's singles championship.
That's going to be tough to get in the POA. And that's the one guy on my team I didn't mention yet, Cal Goldsworthy, got the gold for the senior singles. He was 14-7 to win that, and he was also 14-7 in his matches.
Plus 600.
Well,
so awesome.
He's a really low-key guy, and strength of my team was nobody wasted a ball. And again, like Jennifer was saying, the same thing about her team. Nobody was hanging their head. Nobody was having a fit. Everyone just knew that it's not over till it's over. So I myself, I finished the first day with a 180. I opened the next day with a 170 because even coming here, I'm going, yeah, it's a high scoring house. You can still punch. So I just had to prove it to him.
Good job. Good strategy.
Yeah.
So one thing I want to ask too, like you've been around for a few years. You said 93 was your first singles experience. How has the landscape changed for the Manitoba bowlers? And the one thing that I kind of took note of is how many absolute murderers there are on the lanes coming from Manitoba. Like, I mean, it's got to be pretty exciting to know that like you're one of the big role models of this next generation of phenomenal bowlers that are coming up, and knowing how you throw the ball and seeing how they throw the ball. Like, there's obviously some hints of Jeff Bourne in a lot of their styles. How does that make you feel, and where do you think that direction is for the future Manitoba bowlers?
Well, the future for the existing bowlers is fantastic, but unfortunately the YBC program is a shambles in Winnipeg. The biggest program is Dakota. They have 32 bowlers, period, out of all 6 divisions. So bowling's heading for trouble in terms of having the support from underneath for the infrastructure. And that's not just in bowling. It's curling, I'm told. It's golf, I'm told. And even my oldest son, he sits in games 24/7. I mean, he goes to work in games, and that's the way kids are now. They don't even want to go out and spend money. But yeah, I couldn't be prouder of these kids. One thing I try to tell them is, if you're going to get mad, you get mad at the foul line right now. If you're going to hit something, you hit your hand. You hit your hand right away at the foul line, and then you're rid of the madness, and you can get ready for the next shot. Because if you want to come back and kick the rack, you got to hold on to your anger all the way back there to kick the rack. So just get rid of it. So I coached YBC actually with Trevor Cook and Shane Barry. We got a youth seniors gold medal in 2011, and they threw the ball that well even before I met them. Trevor had a 450 when he was 15, but they're embracing the idea that it's not over till it's over. I mean, and it's not just something that's lip service. You really have to walk the walk. You really got to believe it. I've been on both ends of games where you've been up 200 and lost in the last 2 frames. I've been down 200 and lost in 2 frames. In fact, we lost to Alberta in 2015. I had the front 8, and my whole team opens in front of me. I cherry a chop off, and Alberta goes check frame 9, check frame 10, and poof, there goes 200 pins.
It's so quick. So quick.
But yeah, I couldn't be more proud of these kids, that's for sure. And I call Dwayne Gilardi sort of my bastard son, because he told me, I didn't realize this till he reminded me that he was bartending Tuesday nights one year. I was in the Tuesday night league, so I made an arrangement with him that for you to buy me a drink every week and drive me home. I'd stay and coach every Tuesday night afterwards for a while. So I helped make him. I'm like Dr. Frankenstein.
Not a bad deal at all.
Yeah. And they're
For
only
both
getting
of you.
better.
Yep.
Every one
Yeah.
of those.
Yep. Absolutely.
Well, and towards my son, again, like when my son was 7, you could ask him, he'll say, well, anyone can get a strike. And in that first game against Tyler in the final, cut off spare, strike, corner spare, corner spare, corner spare, cut off spare, like really the heart of the game type bowling, right?
Yeah. The grinding games matter too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, a strike is a brick, and a spare is the mortar. I mean, we've all had games with 8 strikes, and it's 261 because the other shots are head pins, right?
Yep.
Meanwhile, you got a game with 4 strikes and 5 corner spares, 338.
Yep. Totally. All right, Jeff, we've given you 20 minutes.
Yeah,
No, well, 16. 16.
Yeah, mistakes too.
I got the late start.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on it. I always like to
Honestly, thank you
collaborate
for
you guys.
coming on. We do have to have you on again for another marathon. But it is on our list. We do have to do it again. You have so much to say and so much wealth, such a wealth of knowledge. We need to get you back on, but congratulations once again. Congratulations to what you've done in Manitoba and like just the whole culture and the way everything is turned around out there. It's awesome. So congratulations to you in Manitoba as a whole.
Thank you so much. You guys have a good show.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congrats.
All right, so I wonder who we're going to have on next. Leading into congratulations to Manitoba as a whole, the manager of the Manitoba contingent, the aggregate winners for the 2022 Masters Nationals. Brett Hendrickson.
Oh, hey, guys.
I didn't know you were coming on, yeah.
Who won the talent show?
Yes.
Okay, I want to say that we were all winners.
Oh, shut it.
Incorrect.
That is
Incorrect.
the end
He's
of the
out.
show.
Wrap it up.
Oh, that was disappointing. Try again, sir.
Well, I don't know. I mean, tequila. I mean, they didn't miss a spot.
Your dad was so nervous about singing 3 words.
You know, when we set that whole thing up, the whole point was that we had 10 rookies, including my father, who straight up said to me after he found out he was going to be on the team, because he only got on the team because Linda Orton made tournament ladies. He said, "I'm not doing any of that rookie crap," and I'm like, "Okay, we're going to figure something out that you can get up on stage and, you know, I'll make it easy on you. Don't worry." And I got to say, I don't think it could have been any easier than what they did. But I thought it still hit though, right? Like I was looking in the front row. I think Rossetti was sitting right up front and like he couldn't contain himself.
Neither could Alyssa.
Well, here's the best part. Like Brian talked to me later about, and he said at all the tables, the youngins were like, "I thought they were a choir. Why aren't they singing?" And then all the old timers were like, "Oh, don't worry, it's coming. They're gonna sing right away." So
that's funny because there's been the video that's gone around on YouTube and things like that of that situation.
Yeah,
I figured the young guys would be the ones that knew.
You know, and that's where I got the idea from, right? So
totally, that's awesome. Laura, we're talking about the talent show that that Manitoba put on. So yeah, and your guest hosts were, or your judges, I say. Yeah, it was all fantastic. You did a great
all
job.
Rookies, man. They did a good job.
Yeah,
well, Jeff and I think Randy came up on stage too, and afterwards Morissette was like, "I thought more people were coming up." I'm like, "No, just you, man, just you."
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, thoughts on the weekend? What a amazing showing from Manitoba.
Yeah.
You know, when we have a big contingent practice about a month and a half before we go, just to kind of get everything squared up and make sure everybody's on the same page. And I talked to Tim and said, you know, just based on who we have going and all that, I think we have a really good shot on Aggregate. And not to say we don't always, because we're always in the top 4 because we have such solid tournament teams and our singles usually do pretty good. But you know, you take a look at the POA teams and you see somebody like my dad, or you see somebody like you know, Mitch Dubell, who was on the teaching men's team, and you try to look at the POA teams and say, well, who could improve 25 pins on what they're coming in with, right? And how many do we have? And then you have Dylan Stevenson, you know, who throws rockets, right? And you're going to a place like Bonnie doing that benefits those who can be on the side with some velocity, right? So you just take a look at what we were bringing, and I mean, of course, the veteran presence of all the ladies on our tournament team, can never count them out. Doesn't matter, right? And then, yeah, I thought we had a really, really good mix. And then when it comes to fruition, you get to watch everybody. And you know, my main job as the team manager for Manitoba is we have to kind of take care of the singles because they don't have a coach. They don't really have anybody there to kind of advocate for them if something happens or whatever. And every other team has a coach. So just to be there with them, Ryan and Alyssa, just absolute beasts the whole week, just playing their hearts out, and and to not overstep, right? Because Alyssa had her dad and Ryan had his dad, right? So they don't need me to step in and be like a coach, but I just tried to be the kind of the person that they could look back at and just kind of give them a nod, right? Like
Support.
that was a really good shot, or you know what, you may not think it, but you played a hell of a game, right? Just keep it going, stay aggressive, right? And so our entire contingent, and I don't think any of you guys were cool enough to come to my room.
Definitely wasn't.
But we had a lot of people from Manitoba in there every night, and again, I made it a point, because I wasn't bowling, so I didn't need to be in the greatest shape, that it was always open, right? Like if you were ever like, man, what do we feel like doing? It's like, well, why don't we just go to the Manitoba room and hang out for a bit and have a couple drinks and see what everybody's up to, maybe go from there, right? Yeah. So just to have that kind of that central hub.
Yeah, it's sort of the common theme we talked about, right? Team continuity goes a long ways, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's really cool that you guys, the way how you handle the manager role. I mean, all of us have been singles before. I don't think we've had I know in Alberta, when I've been a single, we never had that, right? And I think that goes leaps and bounds to the success of the singles, which you've done. And again, you're mentioning you don't have to do a whole lot, but just knowing that somebody's there to be there, whatever you need, it goes a long ways, right? And maybe touch base Aggregate. What was it? I heard 93 was the last time you guys won, or something.
20 years.
20 years, yeah.
20 years, yeah. We were in the room after. We do a toast to Team Manitoba, no matter how it goes, just before everybody lines up to get marched in. And usually the team manager goes over all the results and talks about where we would have finished for Aggregate, but Hooper came up to me beforehand and was like, listen, I'm going to steal your thunder here. I just want to let everybody know. And I'm like, dude, you've been a master way longer than me. This it means a ton to me, because I love my province. I love everybody who's bowling. Like I'm as proud of a Manitoban as you'll ever meet. Like I will defend and advocate for our bowlers more than anybody. But like that guy's been a master forever, and he's been our president for a long time. And I know it means a lot to him. So, and he got a little bit choked up when he announced it to everybody too. Like it was a really special moment. And I'm not gonna lie though, I was a little bit bummed because winning Aggregate, right? Like I can remember the years where everybody, like when Alberta or Southern Ontario would win, everybody go, yeah, and then everybody would like rush the stage for some reason and get a picture taken, and it was this big grand thing. But for us, we all stood up and went, yeah, and then we all sat down. Right? So yeah, I thought we'd all rush the stage, and hey Tim, I just got to ask you something. Sure. So did you pre-order your meal for the closing banquet? Because if you ordered beef and asked for chicken at the table, I got to tell you, that's one of the dirtiest things you ever could have done.
I asked for beef and I got beef.
Okay, just asking, because I pre-ordered chicken, and by the time they got to me, they had none left. But you know what? Aside from that, it was a terrific week.
Well, I'm glad I got my meal. You want to touch base on your dad winning? How does that mean to you?
Oh man, like when Robbie made the team first, because teaching finished first, and then seniors was like my dad had to wait to see how the tournament played out before he knew he was going to be on the team for sure, whatever. So then when they both made the team, and I was like, okay, well, I've been the most tenured on the board, like maybe I'll get to be team manager. That might be something cool. So then when all that happened, and because he always comes out and watches us, and he's always around. And I mean, shout out to the Wiseman family. Every time that we've come out to Edmonton, like he always just raves about how great you guys were to him.
Mm-hmm. He deserves it. He's an awesome dude.
Yeah, he's something all right. But but then he gets to play, right? He gets to come and he gets to throw the shirt on with his name on the back.
Yep.
And go throw some balls for his province. And he grew up, like, he played competitive baseball growing up, and he's been to nationals for slow pitch and stuff. And but I mean, I guess most of us here probably played slow pitch. Nationals is kind of whatever. Like, you can kind of just buy your way there, really, if you want to. Not calling anybody out, but but to make it for a Masters team, like, you got to grind it out for the 5 or 6 tournaments, and then you got to go to nationals, and then you're playing the best of the best, not just a throw together team that anybody could have built, right? Like, you're playing the seniors from across the country that have been good. And like, I got choked up when he threw his 378, because it's just like, I was watching Alyssa and Ryan, and I get a text message from my dad that says, "Man, you got to come over here." And I'm like, "Man,
he texted you mid-game.
He texted me after his 4th strike."
That's awesome.
Yeah, and he's like 4 lanes over, and I kind of look over, and he's like, "Come over here," and I'm just like, "Dude, I can't. Like, I got my job here. I gotta watch these guys. They're almost done. Don't worry." And then I kind of got to lean back and saw him throw his 5th one, and then lean back and was able to get up and go behind and see the 6th one with everybody coming around and watching and clapping for him and all that stuff. And then he steps up and throws the 7th one too, and it's just like, holy crap, like, he might never stop.
Yeah.
And he just, like, he's got super bad knees, so he takes a 3-step approach from 2 feet from the foul line and just kind of chucks it like he's playing slow pitch. And he's hitting right pocket with his left-handed hook, and it's not hopping the deuce, it's carrying everything. I'm like, holy crap, this is insane, because back home, he hits the right pocket, he's getting a right corner almost every single time.
Yeah.
That's a secret, left-handed with a hook.
Yeah, hey, yeah. But you know what? And the thing, throwing that 7-bagger, that's great, but when he missed, he still spared it, and he went double corner in 10.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't let the letdown of him missing that shot, and everybody, because everybody, they don't mean to do it, but everybody's like, oh, I missed, right?
Yeah.
But and he spared and got double corner, and just like, holy crap.
Do you think that his experience in, say, slow pitch is, help him in the moment of being on the lane? Because I say that too in a lot of different sports where our I guess work in bowling translates to other things in life where the pressure kind of gets to you and you kind of excel, and you see some other people that maybe don't excel as well just from being able to bowl so much.
Yeah, I am a huge advocate for people dipping their fingers into as many different sports as they can growing up. I work in a high school, and people are getting sports exclusive, and it's insane to me when you're young and you have time and there's so many supports out there to get the finances to play so many different sports that you don't. And with him growing up playing sports, I think that was part of it. I think another part of it is all that time he spent watching the WCBT in person too, right?
Yeah.
Like the couple of times where I've somehow made the cut and made a run, he was there seeing how exciting it was and how every shot matters, and aside from the one time making it in Calgary and going like 3 and however many games you play, 3 and 11 or whatever the hell it is, but just that excitement, he was used to it in a bowling alley setting. So, and then he kind of rose up and was like, "Okay, well, this is my time.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody come watch me throw some strikes for once,
Totally.
And you know what? I'm going to give tons of credit to Jeff. My dad would not stop talking about how excited he was to bowl with Jeff, just being like, "Man, that guy's freaking amazing." I'm like, "Yeah, he's one of the GOATs. Like, he's really good. You didn't know this? I've told you a million times." He's like, "Wow, you see it in person. It's just freaking amazing." And I'm like, "Yeah, man, I've told you. Like, he's really good." But like having that scratch bowler on the team has made a huge difference, because again, it's the glue. It just holds everything together. Like, you need a 30 count for the anchor. You have a guy who averages 235 plus that can get that for you. And you always have that confidence. And
Jeff has that sort of aura to him, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, kind of just not necessarily gets it done himself, but he makes you get better too, I think.
Yeah, he's a great teammate. He's awesome to have behind you or beside you or wherever he feels like standing at the time. He's just he's just great. He's just great to have around. Again, as you guys were saying, just a great person to look up for our young guys. And I mean, again, shout out to Colton Uzwa winning the singles for the YBC now. Gets the old trifecta for going to national championships this year. And he probably could have made the youth challenge team if he played, but he didn't play. So, yeah, we have so many good young guys coming up.
Awesome.
Like, it's crazy.
Love seeing it, man. I love seeing it. Just to touch on like your multi-sport athlete part of that, that's a really big thing to touch on, and it's been proven over and over in the LTAD, the long-term athlete development. It's super important, and it's also super important in terms of injuries too. They find that people who are trained in multiple sports or are actively participating in multiple sports are far less likely to be injured, and they're far more likely to be good. So,
you don't work sport-specific muscles, right? Like as a baseball player, look at Rafa Nadal. The guy plays tennis his entire life, and his left arm is 3 times bigger than his other arm.
Arm's 3 times bigger than my left too.
Yeah, well, that's more loneliness than anything. But I so encourage. I mean, some people be worried, well, I don't want to get hurt for bowling season or whatever, but it's, man, like especially YBC kids. Oh yeah, thanks, Kyle. Bulgarians 5 in a row. Never thought it would ever happen. But anyways, getting back to multi-sports, it's super important, especially like young kids coming up like YBC, to get that experience. If you make a provincial championship for basketball or volleyball, to get in front of a big crowd and play and have those, maybe get to a level where you get a scholarship and you can get some of your college or university paid for, and bring athletes from other sports into the bowling alley too, right? Like being advocates for your favorite sport, like not to be ashamed, right? Like we had a girl at the school that I work at, and she would kind of giggle every time I would bring up bowling and kind of be a little bit embarrassed. And I'm just like, don't be embarrassed. Like you get to go to a national championship and wear the yellow and gold and go play for your province. Like, what have your friends done? You know what I mean? Aside from sit at home and talk about Stranger Things on Facebook,
Yeah. I remember having that same conversation in junior high. We had won YBC Nationals, and they had put up on the
marquee. Yeah,
the marquee out front. Congratulations to Tim and Dexter Wiseman for winning this, and we got ridiculed. And that is literally exactly what I said to them. It's like, oh, you play hockey? Where have you been? I've been to BC. I've been to Ontario. I've been to Calgary. I've been all over this country for nothing. What have you done? Get out of here.
Well, it's crazy, but I think we're getting a little off track here, boys. Yes. This is a Masters recap. We are. Okay? So big shout out to Team Manitoba. We had singles gold for the teaching men. We had silver for the teaching men. Our teaching ladies got bronze. Our teaching ladies single, she finished 7th, but she battled. Our tournament men, they were the highest average, but of course they didn't win a medal because they ran into some pretty good teams. Our tournament ladies, they were in tough, but they definitely battled out the last 2 days to move up a few spots. You don't win an aggregate if you have 2 or 3 teams finishing close to the bottom, right? Yeah. Seniors gold for both singles and team. Man, who am I missing here? Well, of course, our singles both getting silver. We were watching, I think was it Tracy versus Alyssa, or was it Tyler versus Ryan, where I had a guy standing beside me and he's just like, man, I can't get a good view. All these effing Manitobans just everywhere.
Yeah, it's probably me. I actually got some of your guys to let me stand in front of them.
Yeah, right. It's like when you're posing for a picture, short guys in front.
Yeah. yeah. 100%. Not gonna lie, Jeff, I forgot how short you are. Anyways, continue.
Short. Yeah, I know.
But we traveled well. And since it was all in the same center, nobody had the excuse of being like, well, I couldn't catch the shuttle. It's like, no, you were already in the bowling alley, so you just stick around and watch.
Yeah.
100%.
You know, so it was great, and just to have just everybody back there rocking, and then Jeff getting the crowd going when he thought Ryan needed a little bit of inspiration, and the Punch City, that 2-3 match. Oh my God!
Yeah.
Every time a ball came out of a hand, I'm like, well, yeah, that's a head pin. Ball comes out, oh, yep, that's a head pin.
Yeah.
It's just insane. I don't think we'll ever see something like that again with so many plows in the semifinals there. But yeah, we have a really good future for our province, and
Could not agree more.
we you guys have that massive community in Alberta, and Southern Ontario's got a really big community for bowling, and ours is a decent size, but not everybody plays. I really hope that this is the catalyst for getting our numbers to jump way up and being like, hey, we're doing some special shit. Come hop on, come be a part of it, because the black and gold, well, we're gonna be up there. We're gonna be winning championships for years. So like, if you want to be a part of it, like, let's go.
Well, that's the thing with Southern Ontario. We don't have a youth movement like you guys do right now. It's crazy. To see, like I remember saying, I said to a few people, I'm like, these guys are gonna be a problem for a couple decades. You know what I mean? Like, this is gonna be a theme. Like, we're gonna be in tough with this team for quite a while. And if all else fails, you guys can take up basketball. You'll be pretty good too.
Yeah, we got some height, eh?
Height.
We got some height. I don't know if the coordination is there, Jeff, but we definitely have got the height. They have good bowling coordination.
Yeah.
I can't see Derek Horn as much as I love him. They'd be pretty fast with the ball and a point guard or something.
Dunking on someone in a SpongeBob sweater.
We actually got him out to play some slow pitch last year. He wasn't too bad, but he was pitching in Vans. He was wearing Vans on the diamond. Also shout out Max and Alex won the duos gold for Manitoba as well at YBC.
Awesome.
So,
we will be doing a YBC podcast next week, touching on all that, and potentially bringing on some of the kids and the champions from there too. So, congratulations to all those winners. Congratulations to all the Masters winners. Congratulations to you, Brett. You did an amazing job as a manager. It was awesome.
Thanks. Hey, shout out to you for putting all that work in. You and Katie getting all those stats in for the Nationals website. Like, I was absolutely floored with how many people were just so relieved that they could go on and check the site that they had been checking for updates for almost a decade.
Honestly, I was just relieved that the messages stopped.
That's right. That's right. Hey, sometimes all you need is just the guy standing in the corner to say, what the heck is going on? Why isn't this getting done? And then somebody being like, you know what? Give me that crap. And then just getting it done. Do you know what I'm saying, right? Like, sometimes somebody just needs to put their head down and do it. And honestly, aside from the food the last night, everything was perfect for the first Masters Nationals back in a few years. Like, it was really good. Aside from my brother getting kicked out of the breakfast buffet the last morning. Hey, what's your room number? Yeah, we don't have you down.
Oh, really?
We got kicked out of the buffet the last morning.
Again, I've said this before, but big shout out to Kelly. She did a phenomenal job organizing all this stuff in a really short amount of time, kind of thrown at her. She did an incredible job. Thank you to all the volunteers. Thank you to Bonnie Doon. Man, like, I stress out every time we hold a tournament. I stress out every time. We only have 16 lanes, and they're holding a 48 lane tournament where a breakdown just can't happen. That would stress me out to absolute no end. So, and it went off fantastically. Kudos to them. Kudos to everybody. It was fun to be a part of. Even though I wasn't bowling, it was nice to be there and harass people. And
did anybody go in the fountain?
Well, we were going to, but we didn't.
There's a few pictures for sure, but nothing. No diving.
Nobody inside.
No. Yeah, we were gonna do it, but
I'll tell you what. Out of every single thing that happened that entire week, that is the biggest surprise. That nobody went in the fountain. First day, I was like,
I feel like we let you down.
No, but like,
we were
shout out to the maturity of the Master Bowlers of Canada for nobody going in the fountain.
Tracy and Tyler did apparently.
Yeah, just for pictures though. Nobody went like.
Yeah, I was saying more like.
Oh,
like
no.
This is your kiddie pool.
I was gonna go in and bunny splash in my uniform. I didn't care. But we never went there.
Yeah.
We had other things on the mind.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Brett, thank you so much for coming on. Always appreciate having you on here. Congratulations once again to you.
Great
to
job.
Manitoba,
Yeah.
to all the winners, all the medalists. It was great to have a national event. Absolutely awesome. Thank you to all the Patreon members. Thank you to All Star Bowling Sales. I'm going to run our commercial, and we'll end this. But thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Can I quickly just
Yeah,
say
of course.
next week we are going to do a YBC wrap up the sort of we did here. We already have some people committed. We have Akira and Seth going to be on. We have Colton Uswa. We have the Dunn sisters from Southern Ontario. The Manitoba Senior Boys are going to be on, and we have a few more we reached out to. So it's going to be a good packed one. I'm excited to have the kids on. So
yeah, we like to say it now on podcasts so they can't back out. Awesome. Thanks everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see y'all next week.
Thanks guys.
Night, guys.